Hi, this is Federal Prison Talk. My name is Sean Calgill. Yeah, I've been to federal prison, guys. If you haven't seen this channel before, a lot of my material helps out people facing federal prison time. And even if you're facing state time, a lot of states are letting you out on, the no cash bail thing, and then you wait and you wait and you wait till one day you get sentenced and you go to prison, or you take it to trial. And that's a whole nother show. In the feds, though, you take it to trial. You're probably going to lose 98% of the time. You're going to lose that 2% or 2.3%, whatever it is. If you win, guess what? You're on a list now. They're coming back. They might have dropped a lot of charges or not even told you all the charges they have. Well, they're going to use those later. You're going to eventually go to prison or get punished or probation or something, but they've got to win. They've got to win. They don't know how to lose. And today is about your pre-sentence report or your pre-sentence investigation, your PSI, your PSR, your PSIR. I'm going to get to all that in just a minute. Let me play my little intro, and we're going to get right to it, guys. Okay?
Sometimes I get thinking about my life, wondering where did I go wrong. Sometimes I start to wonder.
And yeah, I wrote that song in prison, and I'm kind of proud of it. I got to go to a prison camp. A little different than the ones you see in the movies, guys. We didn't even have a fence, just out of bounds signs. Psychological prison. Walk away anytime you want. Good luck with that. Some guys do. They get 2 to 5 years added to their sentence. They're never going to a camp again. They're always going to be behind the fence. And for some of it, it's worth it. There are guys who have waited 15 years to get to a camp. They've worked their way down from the level 4, 3, 2, 1. And they haven't had any freedom for 15 years. They don't mind a couple more years added on. They're going to walk away. They know they'll get caught that day for 2 days, 3 days. Sometimes they get away 2, 3 weeks. Usually not much longer than that. And it's worth it to some of these guys. They've already decided their life's going to be in prison. But you would think when they get down to a camp, you got to have 10 years or less. So you're going home. Some of them, just they don't see the freedom. They didn't use the time that they were locked up to better themselves, to take programs and classes. If they did, it was just so they could get out of work or just to pass the time. But they weren't using it like the way I hope that you use it when you go to prison. Turn your life all around. Mind, body, soul, your spirit. Find the meaning of your life, and you'll find the meaning of life. At least that's how I feel happened to me. Because prison did me a favor, man. I looked at it as a gift. I was ready for it. As people that won't have one or that man, to help me through this. That's why I'm doing these videos today. Now, along the way, you're out on pre-trial. Well, let's say you're not going to prison. You're just watching this thing. So in the federal system, get indicted. That's other shows I've done. You're indicted by a jury. Not everyone appears. You're not invited. You don't get to fight your case. A lawyer doesn't show up. No, but you don't even know what's going on. You just get a call or a letter or knock on the door or something. Find out you've been indicted. But we'll let you prove your innocence now. But you're going to be under pretrial supervision now, kind of like probation. But I haven't been convicted yet. But you've been indicted, but I didn't get to go. I don't care. That's the way the judicial system works. I missed that day in civics class, and they tore all the pages out of the book I had because I never heard this. I'm supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, and I'm ready to draw the line. When you see a guy stab somebody 100 times in a public arena, and you still let him go because he's innocent until proven guilty, and kind of keep him locked up until you have a trial. There's some things, but most of us that got indicted, we didn't stab somebody 100 times. Especially the people that are out on pretrial, we're considered nonviolent criminals. At least those are the charges we have, and maybe there's something that slips through the cracks and they were serial killers, but on the side they did some bank fraud. What are the odds? You never know. But needless to say, I was on 4 years of pretrial. If you're going through anything I went through while you were on pretrial, man, it's the hardest part of the whole process. So I was indicted 2011. And house was raided in 2011. It took a year until they indicted me, but during that year, I was always working on the because they had told me they had been watching me with an owl in the tree in the backyard of the neighbor's tree and across the street, tapping my phone, my computer, and they were wondering, are they watching? Are they listening? If people watching when the feds were watching. About 8 months, they told me all this. All my little paranoid conclusions came true. So then I spent 4 years waiting to get sentenced to a 52-month sentence, which I only served 27 months in the prison camp. I have other videos on how you get that time off, and a lot of that starts with what I'm going to talk to you today, the pre-sentence report. And so I did that, then I did 6 months in halfway house, then I did 3 years federal probation. I got off that this last Christmas. That's 12 years of my life, pretty much just not even on hold. I mean, I can't get it back, guys. But what I could do is work towards a new life. Take a look at my past life. What got me here? Why did I get here? Take accountability for everything I do. Because, if I had gotten caught for every crime that I ever got away with, whether it was jaywalk or drinking one crime, any little crime, all the crimes I've ever did, how much time did you get? How much time did you get? I know at least 100 lifetimes. I don't know, but a lot of times. So maybe I just got caught with this one, but I don't want to live like that anymore. I'm kind of moved forward, and prison was a gift for me. It saved my life, guys. It saved my life. I was on a lot of drugs at the time, and my heart rate was 220 or something. I got locked up at first, and I got let out to do a drug program and stayed on prison for all the whole time. But they said I had a heart attack that first night. It kept me in the hospital for 4 or 5 days. Put me back in the detention center. But now I'm still on high blood pressure. Not as bad. I don't know when I was going to die, but I was probably going to make it through the year. So, and that's one of the reasons I said, I was saying, my mind frame was not there. I was angry and in denial at first. Little I learned, okay, maybe I did something wrong. Guys, I broke the law. I stole from the government. I did false tax return. A whole lot of people. It wasn't identity theft. They got 80%. I got 20%. They stole money. And kind of conned these guys into signing the bottom of the tax form. They didn't care, but it was stealing. It was wrong. So today I move on. Talk about this pre-sentence report. So it's about 30 pages long. The one I got out of Iowa, but they're all pretty much the same in every district. You can get yours before your lawyer gives it to you, just by going to the district, to the federal district site. This is the United States Probation Northern District of Iowa, and in your case, it'd be the United States Probation District of Nevada, California, Florida. You might be District 9 in San Francisco, the Northern District. And every district has a blank copy of the pre-sentence report. And you just download it, print it up, whatever you want. I'm going to get into maybe some lawyers don't give it to you early, some don't even give it to you until the day you get there. 30 pages long, they're going to ask you questions like, how many dogs did you have when you were in junior high school? How many girlfriends did you have? Did you really hit them? Did your parents drink? Did they have drug problems? Any mental illnesses in your family? We're going to get into all these questions, and some of them you got to be really careful. Like, they're going to ask you, any relatives have mental disabilities, and if you list everybody in your family have mental disabilities, they're going to look at you a little different. You must have them too, then probably. So you want to be really careful how you answer all these, and I'm going to kind of cover that. I got Katie's in the room, and we got Go King 08, Go Kings, Sacramento Kings, right? Anyways, guys, Katie, we're talking to you the other day. Katie's going through a few things. Katie, you haven't got your pre-sentence report yet, I don't think. So you can't find it, Katie. We've been talking. I'll find it for you, and I'll email it to you. This one's really important, especially for somebody like Katie, if you're just starting out her case. Because when you get sentenced on sentencing day, the judge really hasn't talked to you yet. You haven't had a beer with the judge, right? You don't know who you are. He only knows what the prosecution has been telling him. So this paper here is going to pretty much be your life on paper. There's a few other things you do, character reference letters, and you can even have people show up at the courthouse on Senate Day and speak on your behalf, and you get a chance to do that. And you get a chance to write a personal narrative letter as well. And all those things make a difference as long as you've changed along the way. See, the judge, most people on pretrial, they don't violate. Sometimes you go past this, you go out of state without knowing it. I had 9 co-defendants. One of them was my fiance girlfriend. I was told not to contact her, and I did. On Facebook, and I put a different name on there. I told her it was me, and she got scared. She called her a pretrial officer. I could have got violated for that. I did, but I don't know why I did it. But I apologize to the magistrate. So you're going to see 2 types of judges. One's a magistrate, and one's going to be your sentencing judge. The magistrate's in charge of your bond while you're on trial. And you'll check in with that magistrate after a couple months, sometimes more, sometimes less. And they just make sure that you're still, doing everything that you were supposed to do on your pre-sentence guidelines. Everybody has different ones. Some wear ankle bracelets, some don't. Some have to be home by 10 o'clock, some don't. There's different conditions. But check in with that magistrate, and once in a while you'll see the judge who's going to sentence you. And they usually just keep postponing it. Some people get it all done pretty early. I think 6 months is about the fastest for me. So I'm going to read you some of this early, just a couple the purpose and the instructions, and then we're going to actually start reading. We're going to go over the questions. Okay. So let me mute myself so you can hear this reader here. Just take a minute to do that. And I'm not going to read the rest or have somebody read the rest. Let me get down to some good questions. But it does say here on the bottom, this might be important, that, about when you should get it. So it says here, following your change of plea hearing or your guilty verdict, some people go to trial and they get, ends up they're guilty, right? They still have to do a pre-sentence. Part of it determines where you're going to go, but it determines a lot of other things. But take that plea deal, then this pre-sentence report has to be turned in. Now they want to know who you are. So, but here it says your attorney has 2 business. Okay, after you change a plea hearing or your guilty verdict, your attorney has 2 business days to notify the USPO, the probation department, if he or she wishes to be present during your pre-sentence interview. So you don't have to be there. You can fill this out and just let them kind of go over it. If after 2 business days your attorney has not made it known to the probation department that he or she wants to be present during the interview, the USPO will interview you without your attorney. You don't want that happening. This may be done in person or over the phone, and that's a lot to do with the pandemic stuff that's done over the phone. But during the interview, the USPO will review the presentation packet that you recently completed and ask additional follow-up questions if necessary. They'll also contact third parties to verify portions of your background information. So they're going to call your uncle, like your Uncle Steve and your girlfriend from high school. They're going to call all these people. They want to find out if you're lying. You get caught in a lie, man. And the feds, that's another charge, man. They've been trying to get with Trump online and all kinds of politicians. They lie, man. You go to prison. You go to prison for lying. I didn't know lying was that severe, but it is, man. So you got to be real careful. And then down here at the end, it's going to talk about, so after you've done this, so you're going to fill out your 30 pages, right? And we're going to go over in just a second. And hopefully you have a lawyer there with you. You should have this already filled out when you have this interview with the probation officer. This is not the probation officer you're going to get when you're released. This is a special kind of probation officer built with these preset reports. Or it says here at the top, I hear PSI, PSR, but it's actually, it says right here that it is PSIR. It is a pre-sentence investigation report. But you'll hear PSI, PSIR, PSR, PSI, PSE. You're going to hear it all. They're all the same. Okay. It is a PSIR is the proper name. So once you've had this interview, which they're going to go over these 30 pages, the probation is going to add to it later, and the prosecution is going to want to add some things in there. And then I think you get 2 days. They have 2 days to do that, and then your lawyer has to ask for a copy. But for the final, so we're going to add. Your lawyer can fight it, or let it go, or ask to have it redone. But if your lawyer doesn't know that you're going to add to it, or doesn't care, or forgot to do that, or didn't realize that he can still change it, because they're going to put things maybe you did when you were 14 years old. This is not really going to go against you, but it's going to be used against you to judge how much time you're going to get. Really, this judge is going to say, "Oh, look at all the stuff you did when you were 12 years old, and you never got therapy or help for it or nothing." I don't think this guy's getting a minimum sentence. So you need to, and that is not allowed. But yet, the feds do it. So you need to have that pulled in. That's where your lawyer comes in. So I'll get to all that in a second. The first page here it's just your name and your date of birth and all that kind of stuff. Your basic stuff, what race you are, how tall you are, you have tattoos. Let me try to make this a little bigger for you guys here. Maybe that's better. So this is your basic stuff about your address and date of birth and all that. And then it gets into your part B, your parents, your siblings, your upbringing. This is important, your upbringing, guys. You got to be careful how you word this, okay? Because they're trying to find out if you're a psycho, or you were just a born criminal by the way you were raised. Or you raised in a really, really bad home, because then there's not a hope of you getting reformed or changing or anything like that. The judge might just give you the max, right? So you got to be careful. So they want your name again and all that, and then they have for the first one is the name of your father, and like mine was deceased, but name one is how old was he when he died, where he lived, and all this. Your father's current relationship status: is he married? Is he remarried? Is he single? Is he unemployed? Is he not? Describe your current relationship with your father. Now that just sounds like a simple one. For me, I had not talked to him in 20 years, so I put no contact in 20 years. But I got to be careful. The judge can say, "Why didn't this guy talk to his father in 20 years?" My father beat me pretty bad. He was a very abusive man, and I kind of put that in there. But I don't want to give him too much information. It can be used against me. You know what I mean? So you guys got to be careful. He's going to say at what frequency you have contact with your father. Does your father have a history of mental or emotional health diagnosis? And it's going to ask you this about your mother and your brothers and your sisters. And if you're to put yes, they all do, that judge is going to look like, boy, this person, this woman, this man, they've been brought up by mental ill parents. Kids all have mental illness problems. And you're normal? Now you got some convincing to do. So do you want to say this or do you not? My father was actually filmed in Napa Institute. It's a mental institute. It's where they filmed One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. If you guys remember that. Nurse Rat, gonna have to set Nurse Ratchet on you. Hey man, remember that one with Jack Nicholson? They sent my father there. My mom his mom had a bunch of money. They got him out of there real quick with the lawyer and stuff. But it's still in the records. So in my case, do I answer yes or no? Put no with an explanation that he thought he had therapy in that was probably late 70s. My father undergone some therapy for, I forget how I worded, which followed in a divorce with my mother. And I made it sound like, it was something long ago that had nothing to do with me, which true, but I kind of didn't really get into depth that, he had been beating me and my mother all my life. I did put some of that in my childhood where you want the judge to kind of feel sorry for you, believe it or not. But you need to know that I had 10 years of therapy and 4 of it on pretrial. So I had also documented I had been seeing a therapist for all this so that, I can handle it now. If you're on pretrial, the feds will pay for a therapist. If they haven't appointed you one, I suggest that you ask them to, and they'll pay for it. And this is going to help you on court date that you actually, getting some help for whatever trauma or drama or anything you went through, and even some of it has to do with why you committed that crime, and now how are you changing? How are you bettering yourself now before you get sentenced? So if you're out on pretrial, that's almost you're very lucky. The people on the inside, they don't get to show the judge all the changes they've made while they're locked up. I mean, they can show that they've been to AA meetings and church services and been a role model inmate in the jail or detention center, but it's not as much you get to show the judge while you're out on pretrial. And again, it's going to ask the same kind of questions about your mother. If she died, describe your current relationship with her, contact, frequency of contact, and they want to know, were they married? How long were they married? Were they divorced? Or do you have other parents, stepmothers, stepfathers? It says, if you were raised by anyone other than your biological parents, please complete the information below. And they're going to ask you all the questions about them. And they want to know, do any of your caregivers listed above have a history of alcohol and or drug abuse? And let's say you put no, but it's in that juvenile record that they're going to pull up, right? This is where they can use it against you. And it says that you were raised by your grandmother who was just a mean, violent, drunk, and police were sent out to the house several times, even a restraining order put against her. You were put in a foster home. And if you put no, you just caught yourself in a big lie, man. That's another lie. And when you lie to the feds, it's not good. They'll use it against you. So you got to be very careful. And a lot of lawyers don't even bother to go over what I'm talking to you about, right? Some lawyers I hear don't even give you this pre-sentence report ahead of time. Now, I did this Iowa one for a client I had who was facing 10 years, and she filled it out, and I said, now show it to your lawyer, and I gave it to her 6 weeks early, before she even had the pre-sentence report interview lined up. Her lawyer got upset. Where did you get this? And so she called me, and I said, well, you tell him you got it from me. And then I called her lawyer, and I calmed the lawyer down, and I told her, I kind of went over to the lawyer too. I said, there's a lot of questions on there, because she said her lawyer was going to fill it out for her. Are you kidding me? So it ended up her lawyer had only done a few federal cases. And once he did do somebody like charged with murder, where maybe a pre-sentence report was somebody that's going to, go to do 30 years to life. Pre-sentence report probably really is not going to really matter in a case like that. So this lawyer didn't have an understanding on somebody looking at 10 years or less, how these questions can really affect their outcome. After a few phone calls with the lawyer, calmed him down, and now the lawyer even called me a year later, kind of thanking me, and because he had another client similar, and he said, "How do you get those pre-sentence reports? They're online, man." And but a lot of lawyers get upset if you get this early. But if you're paying your lawyer $50,000, somebody out there, you got a right to have this early. It wouldn't put it online for anybody to print up if it wasn't legal to have. So it's very important you do this. This is 30 pages long, man. You can't just do this in an hour before your pre-sentence interview, man. Like I said, I'm going over this stuff because there's no tricks and questions. You got to know how to answer this. And if you got a good lawyer that's going to sit down with you for 5 hours and go over this, that'll probably cost you another $20,000. But I'm going over with you now. If you guys do want somebody to go over with you, my number's always up there, man. We can do that for you. But let's get on with, there's a lot of pages. I don't want to make this video too long. It says, if you live in a group home or foster home, and wants to know where and when, how long did you buy there? How would you describe your childhood? They also want to know, did anyone hurt you in this group home with other kids hurt while they were in the group home. How's a lawyer going to answer all these questions for you, like the lawyer that's going to fill it out for you? Yeah, right. You don't want that. So then you want to, how would you describe your childhood? That's a tough one, man. I was beat up by my dad and all this stuff. And, do I want to say that though or not? Since I was having therapy, I said yes. I told the truth, but I said at the time I did this, it was about 3 years. I had been having therapy, and I said, but for the last 3 years, plus I had been in a drug program before where I had another therapist. So I said, I've had a few therapists along the way and to get help with this. And then I was able to put the truth down. If you haven't had any therapy and you come from a broken home and you haven't had any help, so you want to ask get your lawyer's advice on that one. You want to be completely honest. Now you can't lie, okay? But you don't have to blab, and tell them, every little incident, because they'll catch you. They'll catch you lying. Let's say the one lie, I said my father was in a mental institute. Let's say I don't put that, and I don't put down that my mother was an alcoholic too, and I put down that my brother turned real violent and he beat up my mother and my grandmother. And let's say I don't put all those things, and they find out it happened because they're all on file. They're all been police reports. They catch me, man, that's 14 different lies this guy said on his precinct report. This guy's not credible. So and if you're not credible, you're not going to get the minimum sentence. You're going to get the max. And I don't want you to get the max. If you're watching me, you made it this far in the video, that means I think there's something inside you that, wants to know, you guys know what right and wrong is. And you guys know what you did was wrong. But now I want you to do what's right. Okay, but you never volunteer information, especially to the feds. But if you asked it, think before you answer. Play the tape out. If I answer this, play the tape out. Pretend you're the prosecutor. How am I going to get this guy? Right? You got to think like that when you fill these answers out. I don't know if every lawyer, attorney, whatever, is going to sit down with me like I'm doing now and tell you this stuff. These feds, the prosecutor is not your friend. Okay? I don't know, are they evil demons that get the job? Maybe they should be, but they're not your friend. They may have a big smile and shake your hand at the court interventions on the way to sentencing day. Do not trust the prosecution. Sometimes you can't even trust your lawyer. Okay? Sometimes you're just a house payment for that lawyer. He just took you on because, hell, yeah, I'm going to buy my ex-wife. I got to pay my alimony to my ex-wife. This will cover that. Sometimes that's all you are to a lawyer. Okay? These lawyers are like used car salesmen, man. They see you come on the lot, man. They got the best car to sell you, the best deal. These lawyers, you've heard of all the lawyer jokes and the shysters and all this. That's not all because one person didn't like the lawyer. These are built up over years, and they get a reputation, guys. So be very careful, even if you think your lawyer is, you don't understand, but my lawyer is different. Really? Come on the show. I want to talk to you. Let's tell everybody how different your lawyer is, okay, from all the other ones. I'd really like to know that. I always say, in the feds, save your money on that lawyer, get a court-appointed lawyer, and send that money to your family. In the state case, you're going to want a lawyer. They're all wheels and deals. I want to talk about used car salesmen in the state. in the state, at least in California, I used to be a bartender, and all the lawyers, prosecutors, and PAs would come in, and they're all buying rounds of drinks, big bills and bills. And, I'll give you two, you let Smith off for 1 year, and then, what about that Jones guy? Well, I don't know. You're gonna buy drinks for at least you're gonna buy a round every Monday for the next 6 months if you want Jones off. And they'll do it, and we're just numbers to them, guys. In the feds, it's a little different. They can't play that game because there's these sentencing guidelines, and their judges don't really go out and drink with the prosecution or your attorneys. In the Fed, in the states, they'd be surprised. Yeah, they're just one big, fraternity, sorority house there. But in the feds, it's a little different. They can't wheel and deals, and so a lawyer cannot really get you a better deal than a court-appointed federal lawyer can. So save your money, and I think the court-appointed ones are just as hard, if not harder. So then we got down here. This is a list of all your siblings and more. They want, they want all their contact information. And then again, they'll call them Do any of your siblings have a history of mental or emotional health diagnosis? Yes or no? If yes, explain. All right. Do any siblings have a history of alcohol or drug abuse? Yes or no? If yes, explain. Have any of your siblings ever been arrested, incarcerated, and or placed on probation? So if you're coming from a crime family, you want to know that. If you got a whole crime family, what did make you any different? Why should I give you a lesser sentence? Your whole family, all they've done is go in and out of prison and jails all their life, and you're Mr. Special. You better convince the judge how you're Mr. Special. Out of all your 7 brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and grandmas, they've all been in and out of jails and all that, drugs and alcohol and mental abuse and all this stuff. But you're normal? Really? Because I just looked at your pre-sentence report and you're not normal. On here, you say you are, but 17 other family members are not. How did you sprout up so, like the rose amongst all the weeds? Convince that to a judge, or let alone a jury. You see where I'm getting at, guys? How important this pre-sentence report is. And I'm gonna try to end this real quick. So now it gets into marital status, and they have questions. Does your spouse have a history of mental or emotional abuse? And if you've been married 5 times, you got to do this 5 times, guys. Seriously, medical conditions, history of alcohol. How many have you had? It says, have you ever had any periods of separation from your spouse or partner? You break up and you come back, you break up and come back. And like I said, it gets into your girlfriend stuff too. If I remember right, in high school or any time in your life. And so if you're a woman and you've gone through 17 different men in your life, they want to know about it. Same with you guys. If you're just some playboy running around out there, so where's your honest? They're going to look at that and look. That's your character that they're going to judge you by. So you've got a lot of explaining to do. When people write you the character reference letters, they need to know this about you too. Because the character reference letter, guys, it's not that, John was a perfect angel all his life. I can't believe that he robbed that bank. Oh, God, because you do have to say you know the crime. John was an angel. He's a family man. He raised his kids. He must have robbed the bank because he needed to feed his family. No. Really? I would take character reference letter, man. I put it on the wall only for the wall of shame. So it's real. Writing a character reference, and if you want to use the templates online, go ahead. The judge, hey, we got the 50,000th one from website, 202 character reference letters. He's seen them all before, guys. You want an original one. You want one that's never been done before in that quite a way. You want the perfect, most possible letter that's all about you and your accountability and your and how you've changed and how you're going to stay changed. You want a letter that's the judge will always remember. Okay, you can write that letter, but that's your goal. And guys, if you ever want services like that, if you got 5, I don't recommend more than 5 letters, but you give me the 5 names and their phone numbers, I'll call them up, I tell them you hired me, and I'll work with them on getting that perfect letter done. You can forget the stress. Just give me the names and numbers, I'll call them up. It's $500 for up to 5 letters, right? Everybody else is charging $2,500. And I've got lots of sample letters and clients you can call to tell you, what do you call that? When you have, I got people you can talk to, I've done it for. Forget what that's called. Anyway, let's get down to, I'm just going to ask you about your children here. And there's a thing about your history of, they want to find out if you beat your kids. How do they put that down? Your history of, has your children ever been arrested? Have you ever been arrested for any have you ever been arrested for anything in relation to raising your children? It goes on and on. What are we on page here? Well, this is like 30 pages, guys. So then they get into residential history. They want to know everywhere you've lived, and they'll check this out. Easy. They're going to do a print up on you, like on these websites that check your criminal history and where you lived and all that. Well, the government's got one that's like super, correct. And it'll show every place you've ever lived. So you just list 2 states that you lived in, but you lived in 10, they're going to find out, and there's another lie, guys. So there's that. They want to know why you left every place, why did you move to this other place? Have you had any affiliation with members with a threat group? What is this? Have you ever had any affiliation or membership with a threat group? i.e. gangs, cartels, terrorist organizations, yes or no. So, man, if you joined, let's say I'm trying to think of some of these groups. What is the one everybody's saying? What was the movie with Nicolas Cage and all that, and like Daughters of the Revolution, but there's another one. But in any type of organizations, groups that is suspect to what really goes on behind, closed doors and stuff, they want to know about it, and if they can find a way to prove, if you say, no, I've never been involved in any of those groups, and it shows up that you have, another lie, man. And these lies are counting up, guys. So you need to be careful which groups you joined, and you might want to tell the truth. I did join a group. I didn't realize that they were racist till I got in there, and I only stayed for that one day and I left. Whatever it is, you need to get out of there. Even if you joined a group like Black Lives Matter, depending on the judge, you get that's a racist group in some of their eyes, guys. I'm just saying, this is the feds, all right? And then they're going to ask all about your health, and it's going to get into mental health too. But just another question: here we go with the mental health status, and they want to know your diagnosis, mental health issues, and there's whole columns here, and they want to know if it was. Here's a status: resolved, treating, untreated, or ongoing. This is documented, even though you think those records are sealed by a psychiatrist. They can be unsealed by the feds, not by the state, but the feds can unseal anything they want to unseal. Sorry, guys. So don't lie on here either. I would try to put that it's at least being treated, and resolved is great if you think you can pull the resolved off, because they may not, even though they pull the file up, that psychiatrist you saw 20 years ago may not be around, so you might be safe putting resolved. Again, you want to ask your lawyer. If your lawyer even made it to this far down, because I know lawyers don't want to work. They might send interns out to work with you or something like that, but take it, okay? Take it. And then here we go with therapy. What kind of medications you're on? Have you been on? Do you need? Have you ever denied medication? Then it gets a whole section into substance abuse. Now, this is what gets you into RDAP, guys, but it's not going to be your word. If you've been to AA meetings and stuff, that's still not enough to get in RDAP. RDAP gets you a year off, guys. But if you've been, so according to RDAP, I think you had if you have 2 DUIs in the last 5 years, you're in. If you had 1 DUI in the last 5 years, it's not enough. That's where you need a licensed therapist, treatment provider, or doctor, or something to write you a letter. And we have services for that, guys, too. And I've gotten 4 people off in RDAP now, out of 4, okay, with the letters and everything, got them evaluated. So, and I can always send you email me or something. I'll send you all the RDAP rules. But if you have any arrests, drugs, here list your alcohol, marijuana, methamphetamine, cocaine, crack, heroin, opiates, prescription pills, Adderall, Xanax, hydrocodone, I didn't know that, ecstasy, K2, inhalants, LSD, mushrooms, codeine, I guess anything like that. If you've ever been arrested for that, you document in there, and that's going to get you in RDAP. You got to have a document. You're not going to take your word. You can fill all this out, but yes, but you have no proof. And right now, you're about to be a convicted felon. They're definitely not going to take your word for it, okay? So you need some kind of verification. You call us, we can help you with that. But that one's important. So, and then it goes on to all wants to know the dates of treatment. If you've been in a treatment program, that can get you in RDAP as well, okay? And then how are you currently doing? It just says, how are you currently doing? You want to, that's a whole show right there. But and then it's going to get into your education history, and it's going to go down to your colleges, technical vocational school. If you've been to cosmetology school, I went to Columbia School of Broadcasting, but I put that down there. It shows education. I've been to 4 junior or city colleges. Still don't have an AA degree, but I wrote that in because it shows at least I've been somewhat educated. Your military service, they want all that history. And then got employment history. And I had a lot of jobs, guys, but you need to put everyone down. They want to know how much you made, all that. It's going to get into summarize any previous employment experience not reflected above. Okay, this stuff you probably don't have to worry about, training skills like that. Declaration of defendant or offender net worth and cash flow statement. This one, guys, they're going to dig. They want to know where the money is, how much money you got. You got CDs, you got bonds, you got money buried in the mountains, man. I hope you buried it good, and I hope that money just can't be tracked. And you got, it's Bitcoin's hidden, man. I hope it's hidden good. But if you got some money stashed, cars, houses, boats, RVs, property, real estate, and they're gonna go after it all. They want to find it all. And if you got a restitution, man, you ain't getting that back. So, here again, lawyer on this one, lawyer. This is out of my range, guys. The money where you hide it, you got lawyer on this one, guys. But you hear what I'm saying. That one's lawyer, guys, lawyer. It's all your net worth statements. And they're gonna go back. If your grandmother gave you an account for $20, in 1969, who knows what that's worth now? They want to know about it, guys. Okay, and just on. And then your income tax returns. They want to see every single income tax return you've done. I think they go back 10 years. Okay, and most people don't have it, so you got to go order it from the IRS. That's a pain in the ass. Now, how are you supposed to do that when your lawyer gives it to you an hour before the pre-sentence interview? Really? How are you supposed to have all your bank account numbers and all that? How's the lawyer going to fill it out for you? To these lawyers say, I'll do it for you. Really? And I know a guy, he put NA on all this stuff. He didn't answer one goddamn question. His name's Wayne. I did a show with him, I don't know, a month or two ago. It's on my page. He got 15 years, I think, for 2 ounces of marijuana, guys. Because he said, fuck all this shit. He's like, NA. Basically, he's saying, fuck you. And the judge see this. How the hell am I supposed to even sentence a guy like this? He gave him the max, guys. So he came on my show and told me about it. He'll be in for a long time. But he was able to, he came to, right after when he got sentenced. And he said, I didn't tell everybody not to do this. So he came on the show. It's under Wayne. Just go to my page and type in Wayne in the search box. You can see that interview we did. He did everything that you don't want to do. He did, and watch it so you don't do it. Boy, his page is on and on and on with that. I think this is about it. Your monthly cash. They want to know what's going on now with your monthly cash flow. It just goes on. I don't know. You got everything from your medical bills to your electric bill to your commuting expenses, your car payments. Oh God. Criminal history, criminal monetary penalty, list all monthly payments from court-ordered criminal monetary penalties. Because a lot of guys that are getting sentenced have criminal histories. Some of them still have restitution to pay from the last time they did their crime and got caught for it. So, and then it goes into a authorization to release the information, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, guys, that's about it. Let me out of here. That's a pre-sentence report. And if you guys hired me to go over this with you, it's going to take 4 hours. A lawyer, if you can get a lawyer to do it for you without charging any extra money, they'll spend 5 or 10 minutes with you. I don't know how long I've been going here on this video, doesn't say, but I'm going to guess a half hour anyways, at least. So this is so important, guys. So important, this pre-sentence report. And there's a lot of other things, like I mentioned before, that are important. This is your life on paper. How much is your life worth to you? You're facing federal prison time. It's the most important change, and it's the most important thing that's ever going to happen to you in your life. And if you've been in prison before, you know what I'm saying is true. And maybe it took you the second time here to realize it and watching this video. I hope not, but I know it happened. But guys, so you get a third chance. If people have been in prison before, you get a third chance. The rest of you guys are getting a second chance in your life. Don't waste it. Use this experience to find yourself, soul, spirit, mind, and the meaning of your life. In turn, you can help someone else. If you haven't helped yourself to that point already, you can be the person you always wanted to be. Use this prison experience and everything as a gift. It's a gift. It's an opportunity, and don't waste it. Thank you for watching.